the originally scheduled live stream. This is a new spontaneous one tonight. We are going to be getting better at this as we go along. One of the things I've figured out in my career is you have to build it brick by brick, especially when it comes to this internet stuff. So whether you're with us today on the Aquarius new moon, January 29th, 2025, to hear about my experience working as a professional dominatrix and my plans for the future, or if you are watching this live stream in the future, glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. I hope I answer all your questions. I am gonna introduce my off-camera friend right now. You can just wave with your voice, Sashi.
Hello.
So that's going to be our voice for the evening. Sasha is going to be acting as the sub, and not even acting. Like you're going to embody that space for all the curious people out there. So, Sasha, why don't you ask me the first question that you think the people want to know the answer to?
Okay, the first question that I think that people want to know is, why did you decide to retire?
Oh, jumping right to it, huh?
Yes, and
Okay.
Before I get too far, one of, I'm not even going to go into the dynamic, Scarlett, we're shouting out to you.
Hi, Scarlett.
I can see her questions on my messenger, so,
Okay.
Scarlett, please feel free to jump in with any questions you have also from your perspective.
Oh, is that Scarlett's question?
Well, no, it's not Scarlett's question, but I know she's got them. And for context, I've known Scarlett for exactly 1 year less than I have known Domina Vontana.
Okay, let me take a drink of coffee at 9 o'clock at night.
Okay, but yeah, Scarlett says she can see you, so that's awesome. So post coffee, and as I ginger ale myself up here. But let's actually get right into it, as they say on a lot of YouTube channels.
So Sasha's here, but I'm gonna try and talk here.
All right.
All right. Question.
Why did you decide to retire?
Because I had done my full tour of duty.
Okay.
Because it had been. That's a joke. All right. Fuck. Wow. What can I say? Can I curse on YouTube? Does Scarlett know if I can curse on YouTube? Because I need to know.
We're going to find out.
Yo, there were so many reasons that I decided to retire. So, of course, COVID came along and just like shot everything to hell. And people had a real time of reflection. And even before that, things were getting a little tricky. So back it all the way up. When I opened shop in 2006, I thought I would get a P.O. box, that I would put an ad in the back of the Washingtonian and similar newspapers or magazines, that men would write me letters, potential clients, and I would respond to them. And I think that I liked this because I also had an epistolary relationship with my father. We used to write letters back and forth. So I liked the pace of that. I liked that it was personal. And so I went pro. And then the world went online. Like the moment I stepped into what I thought the reality of my career was going to be, it ended up being something very different. And it was different in such a way that it was something that no one had seen before, right? So it starts with clips for sale. And I used to tour at the beginning of my career. And then I hit this thing I called a pink ceiling, because I remember going to, let's say, Philadelphia once, some dungeon somewhere with some lady. And, doubles, when you have a touring dom to town, it increases interest. Regulars might book you both for a double. It's good for business. So I arrive, we do a double session. And the next thing this woman says to me with no prior discussion is, okay, let's go shoot now. I was like, or record or whatever she said. And I was like, do what, huh? She's like, yeah, let's go make some content. Girl, please. Let me make something very clear right now, and this is my only opinion on this. This is my complete opinion on this. I support body autonomy, and I support people that work in porn. Because I support freedom, okay? Whatever job you want to do that's not hurting other people, that you do well and you do safely, I'm here for you, babe. So I've held the camera a few times, and like maybe even a finger has made a cameo. So it's not that I have any problem with that stuff. It needs to be used responsibly, but it wasn't me. So that was the first like diversion that set me apart, right, in the industry. I wasn't an adult content creator. All right. So now I'm just like left out here alone because nobody wants to work with me because they don't see me as valuable if I won't make pornography, if I won't make adult content. Um all right, cool. Then I decided I had nothing to be ashamed of, and I did the Washingtonian piece, and that blew up. Everybody decided to basically turn on me in the local community, and nobody knows my side of the story, and that's part of why I'm here tonight. Is I want to drop that once and for all, and only once, because one thing I don't do is repeat myself. Okay, and unless I love you. So, so I just kept getting kind of like, you know what I'm saying, Sasha? Like every time I thought I was on this path with everybody else, for some reason, something happened. I made some choice that like distinguished me from them. And on top of that, DC is a very boutique city. So there's not a lot of collaboration. And despite the fact that people might use, you know, finance cash app type stuff and screen and give you a copy of their ID, it's still a town that is very much about discretion. So there just was never any collaboration. And on top of that, when I first arrived on the scene, let's back it up to the beginning just for a second again. I remember calling up the DC sub club, and I had attended like one or two of their dinners, and I was like, okay, I would love to, you know, be the host, the main dom, the featured dom. And I was told flat out no, that I was not welcome at their event and I would never be a guest dom. Because from the moment I came out in this city as a pro, the other pros had it out for me. And one example of this is a pro that had actually left and gone to the West Coast. She had a regular, like, sort of like lifestyle submissive. And she called him up 9 months after I started. And she basically said, who is this B? And who is she working with? And this sub that we had in common told her she's not working with anyone. And according to this sub, that other dom's response was, but how is that true? Nobody makes it on their own in this industry. Really? Nobody except me. No husband paying my bills so I can put everything back into the dungeon, or it doesn't matter what I make, I can just spend it on equipment and clothes and gear. None of that. No family support, no old money, no new money. Just me out here busting my hump in an industry that is so uphill. I regret nothing. Pretty much. I mean, I could think harder and maybe I have some small regrets, but like I'm good with what I did and who I am. But knowing what I know now, would I do this again? No. But not because of the actual work. The actual work I love. But my ability to function as a profession when I'm stigmatized, discriminated against, it's exhausting. And just like the freaking Obamas, when you're the marginalized group, you have to be perfect. I can't do anything wrong ever all the time. I can't mouth off to anybody. I have to be the best neighbor 24/7. It's just so much pressure. And you can look back at history. I mean, typically this worked out for us. Madams back in the Old West basically sponsored whatever town they set up business in. You know, if the town needed a new water something, she paid for it. If the school needed something, she paid for it. So all of this was happening, right? And I just kept getting like bifurcated from the industry. So I was really trying to figure out how to make my own way. And I have a really high retention rate and a good reputation among those that I have seen. So I didn't have to do a lot of advertising. And then I kind of fucked off to Asia for a little bit. And then I was, you know, busy breaking the chains of the, you know, generational curses and domestic violence, which I did. Like, fucking yay me. I'm a hero. I'm a walking miracle. Whoo, and I'm so lucky to be here. So, yeah, in 2018, I came back from Asia to discover these are all reasons I retired. Okay, it's like cumulative, guys. It's not like, oh, I'm pregnant, because I'm like definitely not pregnant, and I wouldn't quit if I was pregnant anyways. But so in 2018, I came back from Asia to discover that all the message boards online that we used to use to share like bad data information or to coordinate or just keep each other safe, network, build community, you know, all that, those professional things that are necessary to grow. And these laws, FOSTA, SESTA, had been passed, and they basically eliminated those overnight. FOSTA and SESTA were anti-trafficking laws that have resulted in exactly one case, which was prosecuted, and I can't remember what the results were, but it's not people committing crimes, it's websites hosting ads. Okay, that's who's being penalized. So they're criminalizing anybody that might offer a service that helps support us and make us successful as professionals. And that's just disheartening. Not only is it annoying and a total pain in the ass, but it is incredibly disheartening. So I was like, this kind of sucks. And then COVID, and it's like, whoa. Oh, and then the other thing, a month before COVID, no, 3 weeks before the lockdown hit, February 27th of 2020, my house burned to the ground. So I was starting over with nothing in a world that had shut all the way down. So that the levels of reflection that you go to on something like that, right? Okay. So we all survived COVID. I am now in emotional recovery, living my best life, right? So this is post-COVID. Finally broke the cycle of abuse that was present in my life for so long. And just, honestly, Sash, I think that was the biggest thing, is when I finally stepped out from that cycle of abuse, your whole world changes. The way you look at everything shifts. All right. So two more points. And Scarlett, if you're still with us, or, oh shit, there's 6 people here. Nice. Half a dozen. Hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, because 29 more subscribers and I can start monetizing this channel. Because I'm not going away, but look, I'm not screening, I'm not sessioning, okay. So 2 more things. When I first moved to DC many moons ago, I dated a lot of people. Some of the people I dated were married men. They were not polyamorous. I was curious about finding myself in that situation, so I went researching. And one of the things I found was a book about long-term affairs. So people that have affairs with the same person for years, right? And what this psychologist found over and over and over and over again was that when the person in the affair finally found the courage or opportunity to leave their marriage, the affair almost always fell apart. They did not go on to be with the person they had an affair with for 10 years, because that affair functioned within the context of the marriage. There was something that a need that the marriage was not meeting, or a need that the marriage was creating, that affair met, right? They kind of, a weird kind of symbiosis, right?
You needed the spark, and you needed the
yeah,
and
yeah,
the air and everything.
All the elements. Speaking of
Yes.
elements, wait till we get to what is coming next in the future. So, all right. So that was going on. Wait, back me up. I got excited. Okay. So basically, a little over 2 years ago, when I stepped out and I was finally free after decades of struggle, my brain changed. Like, everything changes. The way you see the world, the way you think, and the longer you're free and in a healing mode and in full-time recovery, the more and more that your brain starts to change, until finally you realize it's not that I can't do the things that I used to do. It's that I want to do more now. I want to do other things. And as I described a little bit earlier, with everything that's stacked against pros like myself, or ladies like myself, or folks like myself, it's very, I lost my train of thought again. They say this is perimenopause, but I've been doing this since forever. When I get excited or emotional and I'm like in lecture mode and I'm in front of you, or I'm in front of a classroom, I like short circuit as soon as I get excited. So it's important that I try and stay grounded while I'm talking to you. All right. So I experienced a very fundamental personal shift that has brought me nothing but good things. And it just left me wondering what place this troublesome little career of mine, the career wasn't troublesome, but people were making it troublesome. Like, where did that leave me? Right.
Right.
and then, and this is really important, especially if you want to support the ladies, there is a woman named Melrose Michael who has what I call a movement, Sex Work CEO. She has a podcast, she has Twitter spaces, she has printed materials, she has a service called Sext, or like GPTs, right, where she provides scripts. She's an online content creator. She does collaborations with like sex toy manufacturers and all sorts of things, and she's a marketing pro, and she's just, from what I can tell, has a really beautiful spirit. So she decided that she wanted to share all of the ways that she had become successful, because no gatekeeping, and the more of us that are successful, whether we're in-person service providers or online content creators, the more successful we are, the more we can work together to change things for the better for us, right? So I spent about 1.5 years doing a deep dive into what it would take to become a digital creator, because basically, as I was talking about earlier, when I stepped into the industry, I thought it was going to be like P.O. boxes and handwritten letters, and it turned into clips for sale. So after 15 years of living in a clips for sale world, and then OnlyFans, et cetera, I kind of understood that was the direction. If I wanted to continue to be, successful and active in this industry, some part of my business was going to have to turn into digital content creation. And I'm sure I could give JOI instructions or humiliate people. I do roast people on Cameo now, which is, I am having so much fun on Cameo, Sasha. You guys, give me $20 and let me roast you. That's all I charge for a video on Cameo. So, but don't book through the app. If you book through the app, fucking Apple takes 30%.
Wow.
On top of what Cameo takes. So please go to the Cameo website and book something. I'll say hello. I'll sing you happy birthday. I don't care. So the market has shifted. The market has just shifted. And along with that shift from in-person to online, the expectations and the behavior of not just the customers, but the providers, it's changed. But mainly it's the customers. It's this devil's playground that we call social media, where women like myself are shadow banned and deplatformed and et cetera, et cetera. You want to know one of the ironic twists, Sashi? People are getting off Meta, right? Because they
Right.
took back the
content moderation.
content moderation. That might actually make it easier for women like myself to get their stuff up and keep it up.
Yeah, the irony is palpable.
Yeah, the irony is palpable.
And it's particularly ironic. I know this has happened to me to an extent, where not just because of content moderation, but people moderation on platforms like Meta, where suddenly you're told, we assume you are too fake, therefore you can't have anything. Now you can be as fake as you want. So the irony of you going there and being real.
Yeah, only because others are finally allowed to be fake.
To be fake, and they're not moderating their perceived.
You know what that means? It just means I'm too good to believe. All right, so this is only question number 1. So let me wrap this up. And if you have a question you want me to answer, please get that in the chat right now, and Sasha will read it out loud for me.
Okay. Actually, even though this is not a question, Scarlett has said she likes your top and she loves the nail polish. Very Vamp Goddess-esque.
Oh, Scarlett, you get me. This is my Valentine's Day color. Yeah, like deep purple. Thank you, babe. I just got them done about an hour ago, so I could make sure they were done for the stream. So thank you. You've always had great style yourself. All right, so to wrap this up, I was never really in alignment with the industry, which you need to be successful. And then they started passing these awful laws, and then customer expectations changed, and then my life changed. And I will tell you this, 1.5 years ago, when I announced that I was gonna retire, I had no plan. But I got one now.
And you can start off with the good vibes, because Scarlett also adds, "I love you, girl."
Okay, who's got a question? Is there any questions from the chat?
Okay.
Oh my God, I just moved my leg and it was asleep and now it's tingling. Oh.
Now I'm not. This is me probably being technologically inept that I'm not seeing anything on there. So
I smirk, I don't smile, by the way.
you know, but okay, assuming that this is my screw up.
Okay, also, not only is there a lot of pressure from the outside and discrimination, like, bitches, they took my bank accounts. Do you know this? They took my bank accounts. It's a ton of work. It's a ton of work to be a solo entrepreneur and a boutique business owner, even if what you own is a bodega, which I didn't. I owned something that had a lot of heavy equipment and gear, and I had to be 5 people every day, all day. You have to do marketing, you have to do design, you have to do screening, you have to do finances, you have to do housekeeping. God, the housekeeping was killing me. So fucking shit tired of cleaning stuff up. How much can I cuss on this?
Apparently a lot.
Okay, good. I'm not gonna try and cuss a lot, but sometimes I do.
You can at least get R-rated.
Yeah, like honestly, I was so sick of doing housework because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, especially when it comes to like me in my professional role. I always want to be the best. I want to be better than anybody, and I feel that I was. But point being, it meant like I didn't just leave stuff out, like everything, boom, 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 perfection, floor to ceiling, every room, every time. And, you know, that was one criticism that I got from other providers once. They're like, V, why do you work so hard? You don't have to work that hard. I said, what do you mean? They said, you don't have to give that much of yourself in each session. But I did, and I'm glad I did, and I wouldn't do it any other way. But that also means, like an elite athlete, I can't just play recreational the rest of my life, you know? Like it's, hi kids, come closer. Come closer.
Okay.
All right, next question.
All right, let's see if I can. Okay, I've obviously got to mute that so that we don't get our super stereo here, which we're getting. Oh gosh.
And like I said, maybe you watch this today, and if you do, thank you. It means you're one of my day oneers. You're an OG. But you might be watching this later. I just wanted an exit interview. That's why we're here today. And I reached out to a couple of folks that I really thought should have gotten back to me because they had the right following and I had the right following and our numbers were kind of matched and they didn't get back to me. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Cole Memos. So Cole Memo, by the way, did this really great, like 3.5 hour unedited, just long form live streaming documentary of Bella's Hacienda in northern Nevada. It's she's like the longest operating madam in America, like legally, and I just think it's great and you guys should check it out. Okay.
Okay, now since I don't see questions here, I'm going to go ahead and field them. Because I'm sort of extra connected to Scarlett. That's too long of an explanation for this. She also says Virgo rising Taurus preaching to the choir, sis. So, okay, so here's what I'm going to touch on. So we've now talked about why you have retired.
Yes.
One of the things that I got a kick out of, which I don't think a lot of people know, but instead of taking the low-hanging apples, I'm going to go way to the top of the tree. All right, let's talk about the conversation we had where we talked about all of our favorite rumors that weren't true. Like the ones where you hear the rumor and you go, wait, what?
No, if we have that conversation, can I be honest, I think I will get kicked off this live stream.
Okay, so
let's just say the rumors have been deep.
So in other words, they need to go to your site and give you $20.
Yeah.
So that they can get the answer to that question. So if you want to know the answer to the rumors about her that aren't true,
you have to buy the book. Yeah,
see, there you go.
The book comes out. Or join my Patreon. That would be a good post for Patreon. So here's the places I'm showing up today. I'm on Patreon. It's $9 a month. That's where I'm sharing my story. Like the $9 a month that each subscriber gives me buys me literal time to sit down. And I've been doing a lot more writing and teaching. I honestly, from the moment I retired at midnight on New Year's Eve, I felt like I have taken my life back, you guys. I have so much more space in my head and in my life. And I just get to wake up every day and just live instead of constantly it's not like being a sales guy to do what I did, but you are kind of have to be on all the time, kind of like on call. Because if somebody wants to come through, let them come through.
Okay, so all right. So here's the question that actually I get asked a lot about you.
Oh.
how did you get the Washingtonian article in the first place?
I'm so glad you asked. Because this part of this backstory is the answer to that question. And I think it's the part that a lot of people might not care about as much as other parts, but it's what means something to me. So when I moved to DC, I was fresh off the farm, and I went looking for a roommate, and I interviewed for a room at 17th and R, and I did not get the room. But what I did get, whether I liked it or not, was a very, very fierce, militant gay BFF who was a beauty magnet. Like, just like he knew what was up. His name was Lance. And one day, Lance called me over and he said, I'm going to plan your birthday party. Here's what you're wearing. Dark blue jeans, a black jacket buttoned in the middle, no bra, and stilettos. And I said, well, Lance, I don't own a pair of stilettos. And he hung up on me. And he called me back a few minutes later and he goes, I've got your shoes, meet me at my house after work. I said, okay, because he worked at Blue Mercury on M Street in Georgetown when they only had 2 locations, DuPont and Georgetown. So, and if you don't know what Blue Mercury is, just Google it. Your girl was there from the start. I'm an OG, like day 1 Blue Mercury babe. So, I go over to his house that night, and I've never put on stilettos before. Steve Madden Classic Pump. And I'm struggling, and I'm a little embarrassed because I can't get these shoes on, and I'm thinking it's me. So he tells me I have to break them in, and we walk outside, and this fat punk, he was still big. He hadn't had the surgery. He dressed in He hadn't had the surgery yet. He dressed in head to toe, all black Prada. He looked like a tent walking down the street. But he would literally, like, sometimes carry a cane and just, like, hit people out of his way, okay? Like, he was a case. And he changed my life forever, and he's just one of those unforgettable characters. Even if you're pretty sure he was stealing the cash out of your purse at the nightclub so you could go pay for hookers or whatever else he was doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Lance was not with us as long as I would have liked. Rest in power. Anyways, I start marching and I am instantly in so much goddamn pain. And I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? This hurts so bad. How do women do this? I've never done this before. I can't do this. And we get 2 blocks away and there's a telephone pole covered in brittle, rusty staples. And I can't go another step. I fall over and I cling to this thing. I'm like, I don't care if I get tetanus. I don't care if I'm bleeding. And what does Lance do? Lance busts a stick, a branch off of the nearest bush and begins beating me with it and says, keep going, march, like some bad RuPaul skit. So my point is, that was my first scene ever. And the shoes were half a size too small on purpose. He could be a real C word. He was a sadist, the kind of shitty, non-consensual kind, but also the visual is incredible, right? Like me and the shoes and him and the stick and the Prada and the stilettos. So one day Lance is at work and Carol Ross Joint, the editor-in-chief of Washingtonian Magazine, is getting a facial from him. And he says, oh, you know who you should meet? You should meet my friend, the Dominatrix. I think that'd make a great story for your Washingtonian magazine. And the rest is history.
Okay, that's pretty fabulous. From the wrong size stilettos to
Intentionally! We get back home to his place. I take them off. And you know how it feels when you take off shoes that are tight? Like, you're like, boom.
Yeah, you've been walking with a little pop on your arch.
Yeah, like your feet, just like that feeling of relief that is also painful. And then he just starts chuckling and he told me, yeah, they're 8.5. Or like, I think he said they're 8s. I was an 8.5 back then. And I said, what do you mean? I said 8.5. He goes, yeah, I know. I got them half a size too small on purpose.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, when the leather grain stretches. Bitch, you didn't get me Manolos. You got me Steve Madden. This is not stretching. So. Hi, Ross. Rosalie. Yeah, right? Am I saying that correct?
Rosalie?
Rosalie. It says Ross, though.
Oh, okay. You know.
I'm bummed I'm not going to be doing sessions anymore either. Okay, I'm going to give you the 411 on sessions. If I have seen you before, so I don't have to do screening, I don't have to figure out what our chemistry is, or if we have it, you already know me and I know you. Third week of each month, you should check in. Like, I may or may not be available for friends, established friends, the third week of each month. Okay. What can we expect as far as your new writing goes? Okay, so I have a lot of memoir. I have a lot of poetry. I have some more like social political pieces because I am now in a position that I'm retired, that I can start speaking my mind more. And I definitely have some thoughts. I also love Q&A. I want to start doing more videos on Patreon, but because it's an 18 and over account, as it should be, I cannot do streams on their platform. I can only embed videos from somewhere else. So basically, I've been on Twitter a lot, and I'm on FetLife a lot. And I got to stop smoking that dry tobacco. I'm like heaving like I got asthma over here. And it's been, I'm really busy right now. I'm flying back out in 2 days to go take care of my brother again for a few weeks. So I'm just busy. So thanks for hanging with me, kids. I want to get off most platforms except for Patreon and YouTube. So I'm going to be trying to do like my daily run of things, all the thoughts that I'm normally sharing on Twitter. I hope to be sharing them on Patreon. I'm still learning these platforms. But, Rosalie, I'm glad you asked because I'm not just writing. I am also dropping my new merch. I have a new website happening. It is called, drum roll please, Sasha. Thank you. I have the URLs and the trademark and the merch for Make America Sacred Again. Thank you. At the end of next month, I start my formal shaman training. I was given the name Shamaine when I was born. That is my name. It's in the Washingtonian article. This is not a secret. And since the time I was a child, my brother has simply called me shaman. And I kind of figured out that once I retired, I wanted to do something in ministry. And I looked at humanitarian chaplain, don't want to hang out in hospitals. I looked at Zen priest. I'm not really sure Zen is my style of spirituality. I more strive for balance. Here's the light, here's the dark, you know, here's the loud, here's the quiet. It's about the balance in the middle. And that's not unusual. There's a lot of places in the world where you sit down with your demons as much as you praise your angels. So I never thought I would be dropping merch, but what has happened is the response in the circles where I already teach, like astrology and other things, has been huge. And I want us to be able to find our people. And I want this vibe out there. I want this message out there. I want this energy out there. And so, so by the time I got to looking into shamanism, which I had never thought about that before. I'm literally at my computer just like, okay, we got to figure this out. What's next? And as soon as I started reading the formal materials for shamanism, it was absolutely like coming home. I have not read anything yet that is not familiar. And as a matter of fact, there are experiences that I have had my entire life that this study and this training all is speaking of, things that I'm already living. There's a lot that I've kept to myself over the years because I didn't want you all to think I was crazy or lock me up or doubt my abilities or skills or service or put any more stigma on me than I was already dealing with. But I have always been a teacher. I teach healthcare, sexual health, sex ed, women's empowerment. I'm an ESL teacher, English as a second language. That's what I did in Asia when I was over there for a year. So I love communicating, and I typically teach subject matter that requires that requires some sort of lesson to teach the lesson. So English as a second language. BDSM within sexual health even requires a little bit of understanding before the lesson. And the same with working with spirit. So I will begin weaving more and more of this work, the astrology and the shamanism, and connecting to divinity and to the source into my Patreon. But mostly, Rosalie, I just need to get all the chapters and the vignettes and the short stories of my life up on Patreon, because we will build a following large enough to attract the attention of the editor and the publisher that I need. And then we will publish this book. And then I will sell as many, if not more copies than 50 Shades. And then I will have the funding and the resources that I need to work on the causes closest to my heart, namely childcare. I'm not even a mother, but I know that to raise women up, they need childcare. So that's my life purpose for the next 20 years. So you can, down the line, still come and see me, Rosalie. There would just be chanting and drumming and talk, a visit with spirit, with the divine feminine, if you would like. And it is a continuation of the skills I've always had. And one thing that I thought last summer that occurred to me when I was in Montana, guys know I was born and raised in Montana. All this time, Rosalie, I thought that I was a professional dominatrix. Honey, I was just a cowgirl in the city. I went back home, and everything about the dungeon that is me is also me when I'm back home. Tough and rugged and leather and rope and chains and all of it. So I've always been me. I've just occupied different spaces over the years that have allowed different versions of myself to come out. So the next version is going to be teaching and writing and working with spirit.
So you're a therapist in cowboy boots.
I'm something in cowboy boots. Did you want me to look at this, Sasha?
No, just that was.
Oh, thank you, Scarlett. Okay, Rosalie, I hope that answered your question, and feel free to shoot me a DM. I'm willing to write about anything you want to learn about on my Patreon. So I love requests. I'm much more of a responder than I am an initiator. Okay? I know that doesn't sound correct. You're like, aren't you a dominatrix? But when it comes to like the Q&A stuff, just tell me what you want to know and I'll give you the answer, baby.
Actually, there's something that a lot of people don't know that you might want to touch on.
Okay.
But wait a minute, doesn't a dominatrix do this and all that? So, let's talk about, people that have what you might call too many expectations / over-scripting, versus the real deal of the person.
There's a lot of that you have to work through in the beginning. I had to work through it in the beginning. I remember one of the first times another pro came to stay with me on tour, and she got ready for a session and she wasn't completely dommed up. She was cute. She had on like something sexy, but it wasn't like, didn't scream dominatrix. And I remember her walking past me and I'm just like, can you even wear that into a session? I'm glad you brought that up because I think about it a lot. I look back at what I thought in the beginning and how much of it was wrong. I think anytime you're approaching something that is heavily covered in the media or that is a sensitive topic, you should just assume most likely that there's about 5 feet of bullshit between you and the real experience. So you should take your first year judgment free. If you are new to BDSM or you just came out as queer, something has shifted publicly and personally for you related to intimacy, your first year is probably going to be kind of wild. And then your next 2 or 3 years, you need to settle down and you need to become a full member of society, not just a little slut running around all the time. You gotta find that balance, right?
I'm still a slut running around.
Yeah, but by the time you've been doing it for like 2 or 3 years, you start to realize what's real and what's not, because we are playing with fantasy. But you just gotta trust me. People that don't like astrology have never tried it, right? And with BDSM, you don't really know until you try it. And most of the people with the loudest opinions about it don't know what they're talking about. So if you're willing to put in the work to get past the assumptions and the bullfuckery, you find something really real. And you have to know that the expert on your desire and your kinks is you, not a book, nothing else. It's your job to get to know you. It's your privilege. It's your opportunity. So I'm gonna cut that there. How about you, Sashi? You have more questions?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, One of the other things that I see commonly asked, not just of you, but of dominatrixes, is
Mm-hmm.
along the lines of how to approach. And what I'd like to specifically talk about that I see all the time is you've got the one of the groups you run on FetLife, and then somebody will put an ad, and you'll end up having to practically go, okay, stop, this is terrible, horrible, bad, inappropriate, and then you've got
Mm-hmm.
other ones, that was right. So broadly speaking, somebody wants to come up to you or professional Dom X, and what are the best ways for them to approach you?
How should you approach a dom, lifestyle, or pro?
Well, let's start off with pro,
Okay.
where somebody's going to approach you online, and they're forget what their end game is, because you get all sorts of things. But somebody is approaching you. How do they approach
So
you?
somebody's approaching a dominatrix online because they'd like to book a professional session. Send a gift. Period. That's how you get her attention. And it doesn't have to be a big gift. She might have a wish list. You might be able just to cash app her even $20. I'd like you to get a coffee today, right? $50. Just wanted to say hello and how much I appreciate you. Because you have to stand apart from the crowd, and we're inundated. Like, it's people I've known for years slide into my DMs and I still don't know it's them because I'm just dealing, and I'm the only one dealing with it. Like, I don't have a secretary, so it's a little overwhelming. So you have to stand out, you have to be sincere, and when it comes time to book, just book. Do not ask a bunch of explicit questions. Be reliable. If there's gaps in responses or people disappear for a day or they don't come through you're done. It's one and done. So set yourself apart from the crowd, often with a gift. And when it's time to book, be all about the logistics. Don't be bullshitting around or trying to get some free, phone action. And be sincere.
Now, along those lines, inevitably, you get the question of,
We're down to 4 people, but it is kind of late. I mean, it's 10 o'clock on the East Coast.
okay, well, I'll just keep asking questions.
All right, well, let's do a few more. Oh, wait, how's... Okay, go ahead.
How do you contend with when somebody says, "Oh, can I be your personal?" As a professional, they've come up and we'll see.
I think if somebody said that, they're asking the wrong question. You should be trying to sell yourself, right? Don't ask me a question when I have no information about you. Right? Like, make me believe in you. Pique my interest. Tell me about your skills, your passions, your experiences. Like, be a person. Yeah, don't ask dumb questions. That's a dumb question. Yeah.
But it gets asked all the time, of course.
Yeah.
One of the questions that also that I see happen to a lot of pro doms is it's almost sort of an how dare you, you're all about the money approach. Now that happens to you not just online, I presume.
Okay, last question on being a pro since I'm retired now.
Right. But I'm leading up to something with lifestyle on this. Okay?
Yeah.
So they say, how can you consider yourself real when you're pro?
Mm-hmm.
Since there's these people that are lifestyle, and then you've got to explain the difference between pro and lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you talk a little bit about the differences?
Well, I don't think pro doms exist on their own. I think pro doms exist to meet a need. So lifestyle doms, right? Dominatrixes have always been around and always will be around. The same with seg work. has been around, always will be around, which is what a pro dom is, right? She's under that umbrella of seg work.
It's the segue.
It's the segue. So I think it's because there's still so many people, 95% of them men, who have that need, want to keep it to themselves, and so they have to hire. So I think it's not about what the woman wants. I think that there's a need and she meets it because it's a service that she can provide, and being your own boss can be quite nice. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think it's the women out here conniving and canoodling. That's one of those things that people believe when they're standing outside of a situation. One of the things I hate the most, and the next guy that says this to me might just get it across the face, is if I were you, V, do you know how much money I would have made by now? Like the idea that just being a pretty woman is fixes all your problems in life. Not that it brings you a bunch of them as well. No. You were asking how to approach a dom. Women want to be seen, not have your fantasy projected onto them. When men can actually see me, when they walk up to me, the person, and it doesn't happen. It's happened once, twice. That's what Bill Maher has the greatest dating advice for men I've seen in a long time. And last week it was, ask her how her day went, notice what she's wearing, tell her she's pretty. Women want to be seen. Like, it's very simple. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's vanilla or kink. People are kind of the same. Like, our humanity is what we have in common. You know? So, all right. Let's do 2 more questions. And then I want to hop off because I am flying out in a few days. And I have so much going on right now, guys. Yeah.
Okay, so do we see any questions on there before I field another one at you?
No.
Okay, so one of the things that I observe, having known you for approximately 8 billion years,
Yeah.
read 17, go figure that one, 16 and a half. Talk to us about astrology and how that relates to your life, both personal and otherwise.
Okay, so astrology is not a religion. It's a spiritual tool. It's a practice. It's like meditating or doing yoga. It's not a religion. What I like about it is it has a lot of math. Of all the spiritual practices, it is by far the most objective because we can point to the skies and to the stars there, the stars there, the stars there. Now there's lots of debates about 13 signs and all that bullshit. Okay, look. Tarot cards, you get different decks with different artwork. Who knows what it means, right? But the stars are kind of exacting. I like to have a solid template for working within spirit. And what astrology does for me is it gives me a deep, deep, deep sense of peace. Because I'm a very highly sensitive person. I pick up on frequencies and like what's going on in the world, in the room, all around me, the energies. And for years, I was picking up on this stuff with no explanation. And once I started following the stars, once I pick up on a frequency, I can go to the chart of the day and it's like, it's right there. So it's validating. It brings me a deep sense of peace because I'm able to understand like sort of the weather at the moment. What is the energetic weather? And that allows me to accept whatever is happening. Now, and that's where the sense of peace comes from. And then how I experience that weather depends upon how I show up, right? Like if it's raining and I don't bring an umbrella, but you do, Sasha, we're going to have very different experiences of that weather, but the weather remains the same. So I am a spiritual person. I always have been. I've always been intuitive. And astrology just gives me a way of organizing a lot of the messages that I am picking up on naturally. So.
Okay. Now here's one that might be fun. This is
all right. Last question.
Last question.
Rosalie, thank you for being the only. Oh, your nails are fire. Being from Montana. Do you mind if I take I'm going to take Rosalie's question quick.
No, good word.
I'm so glad you said something about the nails, and I'm so glad I got them done because I just got them done like an hour ago. Like low key, when I got done scraping all the Husky's hair out of the car, I treated myself to a manicure. Being from Montana, what are you most looking forward to when you're headed back home? Rosalie, that's such a good question. So many things. And I'm not going to cry. But first of all, spending time with my brother. I am my brother's keeper. We are very close. And he's basically the only blood family I have that is worth anything. The rest of my family is just not worth dealing with. And we got the official call from the doctor that he might just have a few months. I had promised him a midwinter check-in, so I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go check in with my brother. We can talk for hours. We love to just hang out. It's so great. It's so great. It's so great. I'm going to miss it a lot. And then the other thing I'm looking forward to is, I don't know if you all recall, but I spent a couple months last summer in this absolutely wonderful cabin in the woods. Thank you for the tissues, Sashi. And it is absolute paradise, and it is absolute silence. And right now I can't even drive to the cabin. I'm going to have to hike in and open her up midwinter and split some wood and get a good fire going and haul some water in. And there's not much reception there. So I hope to spend between 3 and 5 days up at the cabin, surrounded by snow and stars and silence. So I'm looking forward to my cabin getaway, hanging with my brother, and surprising my mom at church on Sunday with some flowers. I do not stay for services. I have no business in a church at this point, which is fine by me. But my mother is a really gifted pianist and vocalist. That's part of where my musical abilities come from. And although my mama drive me crazy, I do love her. So I'm going to show up Sunday at the back of the sanctuary before church begins, when she's practicing, with some flowers, give her a hug, make her cry. And then tell her I got to go because my brother needs something. So the beauty, I'm looking forward to the beauty, the way it fills my soul. I'm looking forward to slapping on some Wranglers and some boots. I'm looking forward to going to the bar stool races. We get real country with it. Like, I wish I could catch some ski joring while I'm home. It is the Whitefish Winter Carnival, so actually there probably will be ski joring while I'm home. It's just building a campfire in the middle of the snow, that kind of thing. So much. Mostly getting out of here. Yeah. There's no place like home, guys. There's no place like home.
That actually leads perfectly into the question I was going to ask you.
Thank
before
you,
you answered
Rosalie.
this one.
Okay, what?
You told me one time that the time of the cowgirl dominatrix was upon us.
Yeah.
So tell everybody about that. I enjoyed your answer to me, but everybody needs to know about the time of the cowgirl dominatrix, and why it's the time for it.
I don't know, Sashi. I'm feeling pressure. Why is it the time now? What's happening?
Well, let's see. You had told me that like all the elements were in place. There was a resurgence of country, and you were the country girl, who the dominatrix, and you were talking about filling the need.
Yeah.
It was the time for the cowgirl dominatrix. Like something different from the.
Well, it is happening. Like, if I said shaman to you, would you think of somebody that looked like me? No. If I said spiritual leader, not out here, would you think cowboy boots and Wranglers? So my point is, that's part of what I have to do is I just have to show up. You guys, I went to a Spanish neighborhood today to a nail salon with a primarily black clientele, and everybody working at the place was Asian. Yet when I walk in a pair of bib overalls with blonde hair, they're all like, where the fuck is she from? Right? Like I'm the one who gets the strange looks, right? So yeah, just ask me another question. Pass. Ask another question. All right, this is the last question.
Okay. Actually, very broad one.
Okay.
All right. So you're retired. What do you want to do for fun? And I'm talking about when you go to paint the town red here.
Sashi, I told you I don't want to get kicked off YouTube.
Okay, fair enough.
I want to do more lifestyle stuff. You were asking earlier about the difference between lifestyle and pro. So, doing all the sessioning kind of like burnt out whatever space and fuel I had for the kink stuff. But now that I'm no longer burning that off in paid sessions, I've really been enjoying getting back into the community, including especially the Desires Party, the third Saturday of every month in Upper Northwest. Very convenient for me to get there. Old school crew who've been spanking booty since before we were all on the internet, which means the vibe is just, yeah, so good, so rich, so pure, so clean, fresh and so clean. Anyways, so I'm doing that. Of course, more travel. So I mentioned earlier that I'm starting my formal shaman training next month. I am also traveling to Mongolia soon. So I have loved ones in Mongolia, and I have, for 20 years, had a very private, very deep desire to travel to Mongolia, for no good reason except my spirit knew it. And so now I have the opportunity to do that. So I'm actually starting Mongolian language training. So what am I doing in retirement? Oh, I don't know. Going, studying to be a shaman, traveling to Asia, starting a brand, taking over the URL, Make America Sacred Again, designing merch, dropping lines, like not lines, like lines of merchandise. Like, let me clarify. So I'm doing a lot, you guys, and like everything has just come together. It's I don't like that word manifest, but I leapt and the universe caught me and we're flying now, and I can't wait, because one thing I want to do is inspire women who might still be stuck in that cycle of domestic violence to know that there is hope and that there is a way out, and no matter how long it takes you to get there, it's totally worth it. Because I'll be honest, when I came out of the fog and the haze of generational trauma and domestic violence, I had to deal with about 6 to 9 months of steady, very deep self-loathing. Because the first thing I realized in my new state of clarity is that I had wasted the past 20 years of my life. That's how I felt at that time. Because I have so much to give. And I was giving it to the wrong person in the wrong places. But I'm not doing that anymore, and I forgave myself. But it was a loss. And now we got some making up to do. And what's the best revenge, Sasha? A life well lived.
Exactly.
And I'm a very vengeful bitch. That's the shadow side of my spirit work. Keeps me motivated, keeps me moving forward.
And I guess along the lines of what you said, would you say it's fair to say that no matter how rough it's been, it has, had a positive effect on what you have become?
Yes, but I don't buy into the if that hadn't happened, this good thing wouldn't have happened. I completely don't believe that. I believe in Aikido. I believe that when bad stuff happens and something good comes out of it, it's because the person it was happening to made that happen, and they deserve the credit for making something good out of it, not the bad that came before. Give yourself credit. Ooh, that wasn't bad for a first live stream.
No.
Yeah.
Row your boat.
Row, row, row. Row, row, row. Okay, so here's what's coming up in the next few weeks. And if you've not subscribed yet to my channel, please, just 29 more subscribers to go.
No, I think.
Did we get some new ones during the live stream, please?
Let's see. Well, you got 28 left to go.
28 more subscribers before I can monetize my silly little channel that I've been sleeping on since, how old is YouTube? Since whenever there is YouTube.
Yeah, so that means that all of you need to make a whole bunch of new email addresses.
Yeah, new email addresses. No, I want organic, sincere subscribers, and I want to build my following brick by brick. All right, so the live stream is over. Thank God. I'm out of here. I'm headed back to Glacier Country for a few weeks. In the meantime, I am going to be going online with my new URL, Make America Sacred Again. It's mine. I own it. And I am doing some merch with that theme. And it's mine. I own it. And I'm working with a wonderful designer. I'm getting my first round of mock-ups this Friday. I have we're doing trucker hats to begin with. Hey, Daniel. Oh, thank you for stopping by at the end. You have been such a friend on the scene for all these years now, and I really appreciate you, Daniel. You know who I'm talking to, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we know you. Okay, so the merch is coming up, And there's going to be, we're starting with trucker caps because I love trucker caps. And, you know, I wasn't planning on doing merch, but I need to do merch.
You gonna do t-shirts?
You're going to do t-shirts. And so the first drop is going to be a total of 6 caps, 6 trucker hats, 2 individual ones, and then a series of 4 that we're calling the Elemental series because it's earth, fire, air, and water. And each cap is a different design. And I just want to tell you, to tease it, the design for the earth cap. So all the caps say the same thing. They say, make America sacred again, right? But they have different colors and like, you know, kind of like vibes to them. We're doing the earth cap in John Deere green and yellow. And it's the only cap that's going to have like a female on it. And of course it's me, like my country girl self, Daisy Dukes and all of that. And we're calling it the Dear John cap. Because it's John Deere colors.
Perfect.
Nobody else might find that as funny as we do. But so, and that's going to help me raise funds to support more of the work that I want to do for the teaching and the writing. And, you know, eventually, hopefully I can be a talking head. The people that I've always had man crushes on growing up are the Bill Mowers and the Howard Sterns of the world. Not this new podcast generation, but, you know, and Chelsea Handler isn't my favorite, but like you get the idea. Chelsea Handler, after she's done the work, is really great. So I am now just ready to be more dedicated than I ever have before to getting the message out there. And what is the message? The message is balance. The message is gentleness. The message is that what we have in common is more important than our differences. And by important, I mean that's where the progress is made, is with what we have in common. And also, if you follow along with me online, you saw me throw up a link today or yesterday. One of my favorite forecasters just put up a video that basically says, hey, the nodes are shifting. Don't worry about what any of this means. Just get to the punchline. The nodes are shifting into Virgo and Pisces. Get ready for a spiritual upgrade. Like, it's happening. Like, we need what I'm about to do. Lots of other people are already doing similar work. And I also need to do it because it's what I'm here to do. And I won't be happy or satisfied or successful like I want to be if I don't follow my calling. I truly believe that. I'm somebody that believes that. So I'm also trying to get some classes up online, like a little Valentine's Day thing. But I'm here. I'm teaching, I'm writing, and I'm traveling. And there's going to be more of these live streams because this is how I connect with you now. I'm finally intentionally trying to build an online community, but not around content, not adult content. You know, I'm not on OnlyFans, guys. I'm probably never going to be on OnlyFans. Like, I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, I'm not just an OG dom. Like, you know, I'm here and thriving, but I'm not a content creator. I'm kind of this weird little thing in the middle.
You're somebody who grew up pre-internet that now lives in the world of the internet.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to call it 63 minutes and some seconds in.
I'd say that's LensCrafter time. You did it in about an hour, as the commercial says.
Okay, so on Patreon you can follow me. I'm also still on Twitter, and in the future I will be active more on Facebook, D Vontana, and on Patreon and on YouTube. I'm going to be letting Twitter go, and I can't really handle the bad porn on FET much. Like, my eyeballs are burnt. My spirit is dry. I can't fucking do it anymore. The reason I'm getting off FET and Twitter is my eyeballs are burning. I can't do it anymore. I'm burnt out. I don't want to see that shit. Great for other people, not for me. So, all right. Well, Daniel, it was great that you're here. Rosalie, thank you for stopping in. And I'll be doing these at least once a month. I'm hoping to work up to twice a month. But this is onboarding for me, this whole digital thing. This is it. So, all right.
Away we go.
Away we go. Ciao, Bellas.